Okay, so lesson 4.7, the real number system. Okay, so here's the good news. You know how to do most of this already. Okay, the only thing that's going to be different is we're going to add a little to it, and we kind of already talked about this already, so it shouldn't be completely new to you. So what you're going to need today, the first thing you're going to need in your notebook is you're going to need that picture we drew. Remember that picture with all the circles? You're going to need that, so make sure that's easily accessible to you when we're taking notes today. Okay, so find that picture we drew. We're going to add a few things to that picture today. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about today are irrational numbers. So we talked about rational numbers. Now tell me what you remember about irrational numbers. Larissa. Yes, and that's what I'm going to give you right now. I'm going to give you that definition. A number that can't be turned into a fraction. You have some examples of irrational numbers. Pi. Anything else? 1.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and it goes on forever. Okay? A lot of times, like you'll see this, you'll see radical 3. That's also considered an irrational number. You'll see it more so when you get to high school, more so when you're in like algebra 2. Okay? Irrational numbers, so anything that can't be turned into a fraction. What about like a repeating decimal? Can that be turned into a fraction? Yes, remember we did that where we did, okay, how many times is it repeating? We're going to multiply by 10, minus an x. Remember how we did that? Okay, so anything that repeats can be turned into a fraction. Okay, any decimal that ends can be turned into a fraction. This is only if it's a decimal that has no rhyme or reason to it. There's no repeating. It goes on forever. Okay, that's how you know if it's an irrational number. So another vocabulary word I have for you today is real number. A real number is anything on that chart, rational and irrational numbers. So anything on that piece of paper that you have is a real number. So the main focus, since we kind of talked about this already, you're probably wondering why we're doing this again, but we're going to focus on numbers that have square roots this time. We didn't focus on that last time, since remember that's what we learned, like, gosh, a few days ago. It seems so long ago. Square roots, that's what we're going to talk about a little more today with this. Okay. So if you have that paper open, that picture, you might want to write in there, everything on this page is a real number. Or you might want to write real numbers across the top or real numbers across the bottom. Sure. Yep. Well, there are such things as imaginary numbers. Usually it's just known as like the letter I, and it's seen in algebra 2. He probably did. I feel like he did. Not that I know of. Yeah. He's smarter than that. I really should email him. I should find his email and see how he's doing. I'll maybe look that up. All right, so what's going to happen today? You're going to use that piece of paper. You're going to use that picture again. So do not forget your notebook here if you don't get your homework done at school. Okay? So let's do a few of these together. So we're going to name all the sets that these real numbers belong to. Now, if I look at this 21 over 7, what is that? It's 3. Right? It's a fraction, but guess what? It's tricky because what's 21 divided by 7? 3. Now you figure out how many places or many different areas that 3 belongs to. Well, first of all, it's going to be always known as a real. Then everything else is going to be like a whole, an integer. Yep, whole, integer, rational, and what's the other one? Oh, natural. Okay, so if you come to a situation like this where it's everything, you can just write all. That's fine with me. Okay? You don't even have to write that. I'll know. If you write all, I know it's not irrational. Because if it was irrational, you would say irrational. Right. Okay? So, yep. But I want to know all the sets. Some of them might be, yeah. Yep. So if I go to this one, I automatically know it's real. But it's rational. Anything else? No. What about this? It's real and rational. Okay, now what about this last one? How do you know? Irrational. Yep, no matter what. Okay. No, not necessarily, but you should just know all of it's real. Now let me explain this to you. Get your calculator out. Now everybody has a different calculator. Okay? I'm going to show you how to find square roots on your calculator if you don't know how to do this already. Shift. You have to push your shift key. It's kind of like on a keyboard where you want a capital letter. It's the green one in the top left corner of your keypad. It's the green. Yeah, second. Yep, second. Yep. It's like a shift button. You do. You have a second. Okay. That second button is like a shift key, like on your keyboard where if you want to shift in the letter, you're going to put that second, and then whatever is in the different color, that's what's going to come up. So on this calculator, this is how you do a square root. First, you're going to push second. You're going to clear and push second. Then you're going to go down. Do you see where it says x2 on your keypad? Okay, see how above it has the square root symbol? Okay, push it. Yours is different. You do this one, and then this, see how it says x2? Jacqueline, yours is not the same. Is yours the same kind of as mine? Then you can't follow my instructions. Okay? Then, what you're going to do is you're going to type in your number. So, let's say you want 36. Let's just type in 36, and you push enter, and it should be 6. Now, for yours, it's different. Yours is going to be, I believe, 36 square root. So you're going to type in your number first, and then your square root button. Or mine's the opposite way. That's because you typed in the wrong thing. Second, and then see how it's this one? See how it's above there? You're going to type in that one.
Oh, I thought
you typed in that one.
Nope,
so 36.
Oh.
Okay. Carver, do you figure yours out? It's right here. So, yeah, you pushed the wrong one. Push clear. So it's going to be second, and then see how you push this one? It's actually this one down here. It's this one. It's the one above. See how it's above? I'm going to get this one, and type in 36. Enter. Okay. Anybody else need help? Did you figure yours out? Larissa, did you figure yours out? Okay. Okay. All right, so watch now. Let's figure out the square root. Stop making googly eyes at him, please. Jeez, what's with everybody in Dillon making googly eyes? This is online now, just so you know. All right. Okay, let's find the square root of 38, because that's what it's asking. Find the square root of 38. And you're going to get a big, long number. Now listen closely. If you are trying to find the square root of a number that isn't a perfect square, guess what's always going to happen? It's always going to be irrational. Okay? Unless it's a perfect square. If it's a perfect square, then you're fine. Then it's going to be a whole number. But anything other than a perfect square, anything other than 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, catching what I'm throwing at you? Yep, it's going to be an irrational number. So think of a number. Give me a number. Kenzie, give me a whole number. 42? What'd you say? Find the square root of 42 on your calculator. Yep, and then you need to push. There's another button you need to push, yeah.
But then I push that, and it's like...
Yep, that's right. Yep.
So then I just push that if it doesn't come out?
Yep, because that's going to give you the decimal part then.
What is even this?
changes to the decimal form. It goes back and forth to decimal form. Yep. All right, what'd you get for a decimal? Let's see, the square root of 42 was what? 48074. Yep. And here's the thing. You see how it ends on your calculator? It's not going to end. It just stops because it has nowhere else to go on your calculator. Okay, that's the thing. All right, let's keep going here. So another thing they're going to do today is they're going to ask you to tell which is greater and which one's less than. Okay, so they're going to give you two that look like this. It might be two fractions. It might be two numbers under radicals. I don't know what it is. But you have to figure out which one's greater than or less than. So some of these you can do in your head. What's 3 1/3 in a decimal? 3.3 repeating, right? Now 15, I don't know what that is. So that's when you have to get your calculator out and you have to figure out the square root. Whoa, 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 don't yell at me, please. Raise your hand. I can't stand that. Hunter, what'd you get? Okay, I can probably stop there because I already know which one's bigger. Right? Yep. Yep. But for something like this, I want to see what you're doing on your calculator. I don't want to see just the sign. I want to actually see, okay, radical 15 turns into 3.8 something, something, something. I actually want to see what you did on your calculator. Got it? If I don't, I'm going to give it back to you and count it wrong. Yes? Fractions, some of them you can do in your head. Otherwise, you can use your calculator for those two if you need to. Okay? Well, you can, yeah. Well, how can I figure out what 1/3 is in a decimal? Can I take 1 divided by 3? Is that how you figure out what a fraction is in a decimal? Okay, we'll try again. All right, do this one. Figure out which one's greater here. Yep, S to the D button. You should know what 7 2/5 is in a decimal in your head, though. 7.4. You guys should know 2/5 is 0.4. Put it in your head. This is 7.4. Okay. What? What? Yes, you are. 2/5, 0.4. What about radical 57, Maddie? Okay, so that's the way it's going to go. You have to show me. I'm just going to say it again. You have to show me what you're doing on your calculator if you do it. So now you need to order these from least to greatest for me. Easiest thing to do, put them all in a decimal, and then remember when you order them, what format do I want to see them in? I want to see them in this format then when you order them, okay? I don't want to see your decimals. I just want to see the regular format. Yeah? You can know how to do that. What's 2 divided by 3? 2/3. What is that in a decimal? You should know that. 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. Everybody should know that. 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. 2/3 is 0.6. That's something you should know. So then it'd be 5.6 repeating for that one. If I were you, this is what I'd do. I'd write them all down, then I'd write, okay, underneath, this is 5.6, this is 5, this is 5.6 repeating, this is 5.4. I'd write them underneath, and then I would put them in order from least to greatest. That is seriously the easiest way to do it. So my smallest is going to be what? 15/3. Remember, I want them in that order. And then radical 30. 30. What? Okay, then it's going to be 5.6, and then 5 2/3. Make sure you put them back in the original format. That would be awesome. Try another one. Try another one. This is part of your homework, so I want to make sure you know how to do it. Bless you. All right, everybody done? Okay, what's the smallest one up there? Maddie? Yeah. Least to greatest. Radical 36? Okay. Then your next one's probably radical 38. And then 6 1/4. And then 6.5. Okay. Any questions? Okay, I have one more thing I need to show you. Always one more. This is the last thing. So they're going to actually have you solve today. So they're going to give you a problem that looks like this, and they want you to solve for the letter. So it's very simple if you follow what you're supposed to be doing. So write this in your notebook, and I'll go step by step with you, and I'll make sure you know how to do it. So 2d squared equals 50. So my job is to figure out what d is by itself. So the first thing I need to do is I got to get rid of that 2. What do I need to do to get rid of that 2? I'm going to divide by 2, right? Because it say 2 times d. Remember, I have to do the opposite to get rid of it. So opposite is division. So let's divide by 2, and if I do it on this side, I got to do it on this side. So then I have d squared equals 25. Now I'm lucky because is 25 the perfect square? So I know what d should equal already. D should equal 5. It might not be that easy. Let's say d equals 27. How would I figure out, or let's say that this equals 27. How would I figure out what d was then? Nope. I can use my calculator. But do I divide by 2? I have to use my square root key, right, to figure out what that 1 is that I'm going to multiply by itself. And I don't know what the square root is of 27, but yeah, ew. So that would be my answer, okay? So if you don't have a perfect square, you can use your square root key. So let's do this one over here. So 4x squared equals 38.44. First thing I'm going to do, divide by 4. Let's divide by 4. I think I get x squared equals 9.61, I believe. So 9.61, perfect square, not even close. So on your calculator, do your square root, 6.91. Some of you have to put in the number first, some of you have to put it second. And your x should be 3.1. And that's all. It is easy enough. What? Did you get 9.61? Did you put it in your calculator wrong? But I have to talk about your homework yet. Did you figure it out, Hunter? Okay.